All right, so we have a very special guest today. His name is Kevin Maynor. He's an opera singer and a beloved board member at the Newark School of the Arts. In addition, he is the director of Trilogy Opera, whose mission is doing black opera. And with the Trilogy Opera, he has done operas by Scott Joplin, Dorothy Moore, Anthony Davis, and we have him here so he can tell us more about his life and his work. So thank you, Kevin, for joining us.
Thank you, Patricio.
And we also have Larry Tamburi, executive director at the Newark School of the Arts. So first question. So what is the mission of Trilogy Opera?
Okay, I'm glad you asked me that because, see, we focus on the works of Black composers and subject matter relative to the Black experience. And that is the mission.
And you're located in Newark, right?
Yes, we're based in Newark, New Jersey.
That's great. So now with Trilogy Opera, everything is closed. You know, most companies are not really performing virtually, but you were able to do something with Trilogy Opera.
Yes.
What was that during
Well,
COVID, right?
yes, we did. We did two projects. One of them was called Othello by Richard Thompson, the composer who actually is on faculty at the State University of San Diego out in California. And then we did the fourth installment of The Ring, Goethe Dämmerung, which means Twilight of the Gods, by Richard Wagner. And we did one on July 25th and the other on August 2nd. And they were special because we did them socially distant, and we required everyone to wear masks that would come and hear the performance. And we also asked all of the instrumentalists and the singers involved to wear masks when they were not actively performing. And then we spaced all the chairs apart 6 to 8 feet. And we did the same thing for the audience. We put the orchestra on two sides of the field. We amplified it and used monitors so they could hear each other. And it came out quite well. And we received quite a bit of attention from it, from both of them, actually. And we still are hearing quite a bit. The Othello was really the project that we were kind of confident about because it just involved two people, me as Othello, and then a dancer, a ballet dancer as Desdemona.
Ah,
And her job was to dance responses to my inquiries, if you will. And that worked out very nicely. She was on one part of the stage and I was on the other part. But we do come together at certain moments, but we were very careful not to be so romantically involved as one might expect in the piece. And then of course the Goethe Dämmerung, because we set up two different aisles, if you will, of singers and spaced them out accordingly. And the Goethe Dämmerung required 16 singers. We did a reduced version by Jonathan Dove, and we really got that thing really right because this is the fourth installment. But I have to say, this probably was the strongest installment. The casting was excellent. And when we turned around, we got a great review from the Bortnicheks, Ed and Paula Bortnichek. They're from the Bayreuth Festival, and they write for the Wagner Journal and so forth. And they came, and we got a great review from them. And then we got another great review from a fellow who follows us in Spain, an independent writer. And then we got a surprise review in Germany from a radio station that had also saw because we actually filmed it. And this gentleman saw it, and he has a very prominent radio station, and he wrote a review and a commentary, which you can see on our Facebook pages and so forth. And
Is the
so,
performance available online?
yes, you can see them both. We made them available this time.
Okay.
We
We,
yeah, we
we'll
made
look
both
for it
video
and we're gonna
fellow.
make, yeah.
If you go to our website at www.trilogyaoc.com, you can see both of them, both performances. I think we're going to correct the Götterdämmerung one, I think, because the way they recorded it, it kind of has some sort of repetitious sort of echo. So we're going to probably correct that one pretty soon. But yeah, you can see
We'll
all
make
of this
sure
stuff
to
online.
share that with the interview. So
Please.
Wagner, the Ring Cycle. I saw, I was born in Chile, and I saw
Yes.
that you've been there and you have performed at the Teatro Municipal. So, I got very. I did not know that about you. So you know my country,
Yes,
my
the
country
Teatro
of origin.
Municipal de Santiago. It was a
Yeah.
wonderful opera house, and that was an unusual cast. Tom Fox was the Wotan, and then of course the Gabor Ertvers, the great Hungarian conductor, did that ring, and he was absolutely incredible. And John McCurdy was my partner in crime because I sang the Fafner, and he sang Fasold, and that was quite interesting because he sort of mentored me during that time, and he was very difficult for everybody to deal with except for me. And the opera company couldn't get him to do anything that they wanted him to do, so they would come to me, Patricio, and ask me to do it and
Wow.
talk to him. And I said, let me tell you something right now, ladies and gentlemen. I said, John McCurdy was a favorite of Herbert von Karajan. And if you think I'm going up here and telling him what to do, and all the rings he's done, and at that point in my career, I had only done 3 rings, which is a lot. I didn't realize that at the time. But I said to him, I said, I don't think so. I said, if he has an approach, I'm actually learning from him. I said, so guys, don't expect me to do that. They kind of laughed. They knew it was a long shot.
Hey, Kevin, speaking of your career, could you give us a couple highlights? You've had such an auspicious opera career. Could you give us a little bit of, some memorable performances?
Yeah, I saw that question there. I said, man, that is so hard to do. Um, some of the performances that I really enjoyed. Let's see. I guess Die Zauberflöte in Cincinnati with the Cincinnati Opera was a magnificent highlight for me. Also, I think my performing of Il Barbiere di Siviglia um, during my first Basilio with the New York. That's not right. It was my third Basilio with the New York City Opera. That was very memorable, and it was a difficult time because the director, he probably Alan Sherman, he was having a tough time with that piece, and there was a lot of fussing going on, so that made that very memorable for me. And Ajman Guido Marsan was the conductor, and he was learning how to really approach this thing. And as a Marsan was really a very well respected conductor, and but he was sort of figuring out how to do this because New York City Opera was very responsible for training American singers in opera in a very special way. So things had to be very, very traditional and very, very right and correct, if you will. So it was memorable in that sense. It's a little bit too much. Too much happened for me to explain why I'm laughing, but it was quite memorable. And then, of course, I think one thing that was really very memorable for me was the out in Orange County. I did Die Valkyrie out there, Valkyrie, every time I did the Valkyrie, it was memorable because I did Valkyrie. My first Valkyrie was in with the Scottish Opera, and they Willard White was the Wotan, and then Jane Eaglin was the Brunhilde.
She's
And
amazing.
yeah, right. And we really didn't know how good everybody was.
Yeah.
It was kind of funny, and so we were kind of there, and we really didn't know how good everybody was. And then the first rehearsal happened, and we were all like, "Man, this is pretty good."
It's amazing.
And the Scottish Opera was known for its productions and design and so forth. It was quite beautiful, and they had me in this yellow, like very very sexy outfit, which really wasn't like Hunding, but that's what they wanted, and it just was a fabulous production. And what was his name? Molinari. John, gosh, I'm sorry, I'm forgetting his name. He's going to kill me. The conductor. It was his first Valkyrie. Also, he struggled a bit. But then we did it again in California, and he had it all figured out. John Malchieri. That's his name.
Yeah, sure, John. Yeah, sure, yeah.
Wow.
So John, so Larry, don't you go and tell all these people.
I won't tell anything. This is between me and you. Don't worry.
And the internet, right?
So, I don't want to mess up anybody's career. But, and
So,
especially
Mr. Maynor, so at one point, maybe a few years back, every opera singer had to go to Germany to begin their operatic career in a way, right?
Yeah.
Is that correct? Is that the case today? Are things,
Well, the Germans don't want us, and that's over with. That will not return because we soaked up a lot of dollars, and the American singers, if you will, I think it's fair to say we're really the most prepared, out of all of the artists. We're really very, very prepared. And so a lot of the opera companies in the world want to hire us. And we also sound the best. I'm just, I'm trying to be honest about this, but overall, the American singer is quite prepared and sounds the best. That's just how it is. And so we're kind of frowned upon going over there. I didn't go to Germany to start out, and I only recently went to Germany for big recital. I did a big recital tour there. I guess it was about 8 years ago. In about 7 or 8 cities, and was very well received. And but I didn't really, do a whole German stint like a lot of people did. But I have the respect of the Germans and the German opera houses, and like I said, they would review everything that I was doing because I would sing at important opera houses in Europe, and the German papers and so forth would review them. Anything you sang at in France, any opera house you sang in France would be reviewed in Germany, and vice versa. So that's just how it was. But my repertoire also too. Was, I did a lot of Germanic repertoire. So, the Germans are not interested in hearing someone else sing, in German. They want to hear you sing in American, as compared to English. I always say American. And, or, Italian maybe, or maybe Spanish or Czech or something like that. But, so, that's sort of how that went. But I was also, I think one other performance that really just blew me away was my performance with Julius Rudel. We did Mephistopheles. Oh God, my first time doing that with him, I was scared to death. I didn't even want to leave my hotel room.
Was that at City Opera?
That was with yes, the opera we did, but we did actually it was a concert version, and we did it. We opened up three symphonic, three concert halls. We opened up Ruth Eckerd Hall, which was in Clearwater, Larry, and then we opened up the new Tampa Performing Arts Center, of course, which was in Tampa, and then they were finishing the St. Petersburg Theater, and so we were opening up those three theaters.
Wow.
And if I had known that, I never would have accepted that because it was a huge date, and I was younger, and Mephistopheles is a tremendously difficult role, and they don't do that opera that much, but I'm called often to do the prologue or the arias in it with other orchestras, and and Rudell knew that and that would probably happen for me, and so when I met with him privately in his apartment, he casted me immediately in that thing, and then throughout the years he would call me and we would do it again. We at the Virginia Arts Festival, I think it's called, down in Norfolk, Virginia. We did it there, and then we did it again. Somewhere I can't think of where we did it, but I did it several times with Julius Rudell before he passed, and then I started doing it again. Then the woman conductor Joanne Falletta,
sure, in Virginia.
Yeah, she's sort of like a big fan, and she called me to do it down there with her, and she just was. It was so funny. She was so sweet, and she looked so nervous about the whole thing. Yeah, she said to me, she said, "I know you've done this with such and so forth," and so I acted like I know this thing.
Well, I have another question for you.
Yeah.
In theater, in today's theater world and opera world, there's a whole big change about ethnicity and race in terms of roles.
Yes.
What's your feeling about all of that?
Okay, expound on that a little bit so I can answer the question completely.
Well, you sang Otello, and Otello was a Moor. He was a black man, and so that's a role that black singers often have sung.
Yeah.
Or Gershwin, but what about singing, a hero's role in the Magic Flute or another opera or something, that's traditionally been white singers, for example.
Okay, all right. Let me turn it around a little bit for you there.
Sure.
Okay, you're dealing with three things there, I think. I'm not a big Porgy and Bess fan because I don't think it allows black composers to really be heard and their works to be taken seriously. And it also, I think, it pigeonholes African Americans. And oftentimes they will throw you into these particular roles and they have absolutely nothing to do with you. I'm a low bass, so why should I sing Porgy? But I cannot even begin to tell you how many people and how many companies have called me to sing Porgy, and I don't do Porgy. And it's made a lot of people, upset and angry. But I don't do Porgy. It's not the right role for me. And I don't sing Wotan. It's not the right role for me. And people have called me to do Wotan. It's not right. I've done the Wanderer in Siegfried, but I don't do Wotan, and I don't do Porgy. And and they're very similar. And but then on the other hand, there are other roles. Okay, like Othello is really for tenor voice until now, which I commissioned this new one, 5 aspects of Othello, but it was generally for the tenor voice. And the criticism was that there were no black tenors that could sing it. Well, I know that's not right. I know where all the great singers are. When I came back from Indiana University and came into New York, and I remember I did a Verdi Requiem at a church downtown, and I could not believe the singers I was singing with. I didn't know who they were. I'd never heard of them, and they, but they were the best. I mean, they were incredible. And they were just kind of walking around the street,
Mhm.
fully trained and completely prepared. And this is how I felt about Othello, or Otello, if you will,
Mhm.
by Giuseppe Verdi. I believe there are tenors that can sing that role. I know who they are. No one
Mhm.
has ever asked me. I can point you right to the people who can do that role. And but we didn't take care of that. And then just recently, Russell Thomas, I think, has been given the opportunity to do the role. But I heard a lot of uh, white singers sing that role. When I was in Moscow in the Soviet Union, I remember my late friend, good friend, James King, was there at the Bolshoi Theater, the Bolshoi Theater, and
Mhm.
they invited him to come and to sing um, Otello. And he did a very nice job. But he had his problems there with the role, and it was all right. It was okay. And so I mean, but nobody's perfect. I've been in casts where I sang uh, with the minister role, the bass role, Lodovico, with James McCracken, and
Mhm.
McCracken, he did a great job, but it wasn't perfect, and
Mhm.
but it was a great experience, and he had the sound for it that people wanted. Now, some of the extremities, he didn't have, and so be it, But African American singers have run into this problem in terms of being treated fairly and given opportunities to do these important roles that they should be doing, and have been sort of funneled down the pathway of Porgy and Bess, which is unfortunate. Now, I hope I'm answering that question, Larry, and if I'm
Oh
not,
yeah,
be very
I
specific.
think it's an interesting question, and you're someone who has lived this, and so I think it's good for everyone to hear about this. Yes, thank
Yeah, yes. And so this is a problem, and
you.
but we need more um uh, black opera companies. We must. It's not enough for someone else to choose
Mhm.
what blacks will do or sing, or how they will behave. African Americans have to make some these choices, and music is a big part of black culture, and it
Yeah.
is a mistake to ignore that. It is a
Mhm.
serious mistake,
That's
and
for sure. Yeah.
yeah, you're gonna lose out on a lot when you do that.
Yeah.
And the church that I grew up in, I formulated my musical taste, and it was from the men in the choir. There were three soloists there that could have had operatic careers easily, easily. And
Mhm.
I heard them my whole life, and I developed my concept of sound from them. So we don't want to miss out on these things. We shouldn't miss out on them
No.
at all. No,
Yeah.
no.
Mr.
Yeah,
Maynor, so
yeah,
we have a lot of students who want to become singers, want to
yeah.
audition for opera companies. So, what is your advice now that before maybe a few years back would have been go to Germany, study there, come back, you'll have maybe a career.
Yeah.
What is your advice for young uh,
All right.
aspiring singers today?
All right. Okay. My manager just 3 days ago calls me early in the morning and very upset. And he says to me that he's not going to be recommending any young singers to come into the business, and that they must now go to Europe to begin. And my manager is very powerful, Pinnacle Arts Management, John Miller. And I listened to him, and I changed the subject to something that I felt he needed to discuss with me. And but I heard what he said, and but I'll twist that a little bit. I don't think that the classical music business is dying. I think that what is happening now are a number of different kinds of things. But I think the classical music business is alive and well more than ever, if you will, because first of all, what you're seeing is that there are more people that are entering and are playing and singing well. And so now you have to find ways for them to develop. And really, quite frankly, the best place to develop still, for my money, is the United States. And I think that what you must do first, Patricio, is you must free the voice. Now, I'm very conservative on this matter. You know, I don't believe putting singers up there and the voice is not functioning well. You must find good teaching, and you must discover, if you will, or be guided in freeing the voice. That's it. Once the voice is free, then you can do anything. But without the voice being free, then your opportunities are extremely limited. And that's how I see it. Racism is a problem. Sexism is a problem. Favoritism is a problem. But none of those problems, as far as I see it, can hold you back. Ha ha ha.
Wow.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Now, you are a victim of your time, and what goes on in your time. You are a victim of the struggle of which you are participating in. But they are not the things that hold you back, if you will. They are very, very much involved in the struggle, and it's a kind of ignorance that can deter, or shall we say, move you in directions that you would not go, but they can't hold you back. No, they can't. There are obstacles that are in the way that you must overcome and so forth. But I know I'm a God-fearing man, and I don't. What kind of Christian or God-fearing man would I be if I believed that man could overdo God and just decide that nothing is going to happen for you? Most people don't really look at closely what has happened to them, what's going on. Sometimes they don't see the beauty of what is going on in their life, and they want the grass on the other side of the street because it looks greener. And but we go through things differently. But I'll tell you this: you must free that voice. And when I look at people like Marian Anderson, okay, who was a victim of the ignorance of her time, but it did not. She is still regarded as probably the greatest, mezzo contralto voice of all time. Your art is what will lead is what makes the game. That's what it's all about. Now, if you're talking about earning money, then people can get in the way of you earning money. Yes, they can. They can get in the way of you earning money, but they cannot stop your art. They can't stop it. They cannot stop it. And the name of the game is to be the greatest and most magnificent artist you can be. And if you're a singer, you must free the voice, and you must sing like hell. That's right. That's right.
That's fantastic, Kevin. It's a great way for us to end this wonderful interview. Thank you so much. It's been
no problem. Thank
nice
you, guys.
talking with you. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.